My name is Carrie Assumption Helms. And so today we're at the PWN's Professional Women Network's July Level Up at Lunch. And this is our monthly event that we hold on the third Thursday of the month. And I am so proud of each and every one of you, how you show up, the love that you pour into PWN. And I'm going to even cry. Like, thank you so much for making this a fantastic organization where we get a chance to connect women to really what lights them up. So thank you for all of that. So for those of you who are watching on PWN's YouTube channel, be sure to click like and subscribe. And for those of you who are just tuning in or maybe haven't had an opportunity to hang out with us, I just want to say that PWN is a networking organization for professional women, and we've been finding some men too, to come together to build lasting relationships, professional development, and also business connections. We also support women in need throughout our community with our annual fundraising activities. We'll be saying a little bit more about that later, which is our annual WODI event, Woman of the Year. We have our Woman of the Year here today with us, Krista Beavers. Woohoo! Great to see you. So today our featured guest, I'm just so excited to hear what Valentia has to say. Valentia Valentine, a founder and CEO of Synchronicity Holistic, and an award-winning luxury cannabis wellness center in Carmel, California. And I understand that you are revolutionizing how we heal, age, and lead. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say today. She's going to be talking about advocacy and leadership for aging and wellness. And I want to say, please join us in celebrating our amazing sponsor today, Tracy Root. I'll say a little bit about Tracy, that she's our guide to living boldly. So if you haven't had an opportunity to meet with her yet, you would notice how she takes a stand. She's vocal. And so she's the visionary behind the Gather community. It's a powerful movement that connects ambitious women who are ready to go all in and then break barriers and build thriving businesses. And really, if you haven't had a chance to meet with her, her energy is contagious and her passion unstoppable. And also, I want to say thank you to Bookkeeping Central and Stephanie Shields for taking care of our bookkeeping needs, and our year-long sponsors, Rain Technologies, Guardian Accounting is here, Estrada and Associates Wealth Management, Katarina Rando, Serving Women on a Mission, Sarah Fromm, DDS, Jody Royer, Magic Mind Marketing, Mimi Minas, Ace Creation, and Diane Glim, Monterey County Weekly. So,
all right, we are ready for our speaker today, and it is my pleasure to introduce her. A dynamic force in advocacy, real estate, and holistic wellness, Valentia built a 25-year career in commercial real estate before receiving a life-altering multiple sclerosis diagnosis. Faced with pain, fatigue, and dwindling options, she refused to be a passive patient. Instead, she became a relentless seeker, eventually discovering the scientifically backed therapeutic power of medicinal cannabis. That choice didn't just restore her health, it reshaped her purpose. Now, the visionary behind Synchronicity Holistic, named by Architectural Digest as the, quote, most luxurious medical cannabis destination, Valentia has turned her personal healing into a bold business and a public advocacy platform. With elegance, grit, and zero apologies, still never having smoked a joint, she's led efforts to destigmatize cannabis use, influence Monterey County policy, and create one of the most refined healing spaces in the country. Today, she's going to talk to us about advocacy and leadership for aging and wellness. Welcome, Valentia.
So in 2010, I went to Stanford Hospital. I had 4 broken ribs, torn rotator cuff, and my children at that time, I had become pretty much bedridden. We're only 10 and 13 years old. Stanford sent me to a pot shop. And much to my overwhelm and fear, I had already sent 3 of my 5 children at that time to a treatment program because I truly thought cannabis was a gateway drug that would lead to other use of drugs. My brother was smoked pot probably the entirety of his life. And what I know now is that my brother had anxiety and depression, and he was self-medicating. Stanford encouraged me to go learn about it. However, I went to several places in California. I flew to Colorado, Washington. I wanted to see cannabis in the light that I could connect to. And it wasn't until I got to Israel. They're brilliant. They've used cannabis in the marketplace for probably 35 years now. We've been taught by UCLA in the classes that I take that it is a phytonutrient. We will be on cannabis for age management and wellness for the rest of our lives. When I started, I was the only one in Stanford, as recently shared, that not only have I left the bed, the wheelchair, the walker, and the cane, I live in gratitude every day. And I kind of made this deal that if I could continue walking and pay it forward every day by helping just one person destigmatize this miraculous plant, that was going to be my life's work. And it's worked. It took years because of the opposition, the Good Old Boys Network. Everybody had come from the illicit market. We're not going to let her in here. I got kicked down a lot, but somebody used the word grit. It just propelled me. I was a single mom at that point, to model to my children that you don't quit, that if you believe in something, you fight for it. And what I can tell you now, I am the only one at Stanford Hospital who has left the clinic after 32 years. The wheelchair, the walker, the cane. I epitomize health in every area of my life. The only problem that I have is a motility issue that's unseen from the public eye. So there are still major hurdles that I deal with every day. What I have to do to get out the door, to get to work or to make a presentation or even socialize is grueling sometimes. I take between 80 and 100 milligrams of CBD a day. I've had to learn that on my own. We work in collaboration with a doctor from Harvard, Dr. Ben Kaplan. We work with Cody, who is a pharmacologist, pediatric pharmacologist, who teaches at the University of Irvine. So many schools now have cannabinoid medicine. Harvard and Yale do, and we've got more coming. The problem's been the FDA has had their foot on this product because you can't monetize it. It's grown, it's not pharma. Pharma's got a big pushback right now, and there's a lot of negative press out there. But what I can tell you is I've seen over 16,000 people. We've seen people very much like myself. Dr. Centurion sent all of his neurology patients, not only for Parkinson's and for MS, but ALS, ADHD, depression, anxiety. And we've had such tremendous success. We even had somebody come in the other day that said, my wife drank 2 glasses of wine and had a cigarette for the last 40 years of our marriage, much to my dismay. She didn't want, after 10 days of being on the CBD product, she didn't want wine or the cigarette. So we see the life-changing effects, and it's cumulative, it's transformative. And I wouldn't be here today had I not trusted Stanford Hospital that this was something that was safe to do. Did I get dropped from the local high-profile country club? Yes, I did. I was afraid that parents wouldn't allow their kids to come to my house, that they'd think I was smoking pot. So I kind of held very close until I came out in 2014 on the 6 o'clock news to advocate and to help evoke a need for public policy. And we worked many years, 2010, 2014 with the city of Monterey. They've just now accepted and opened, all these years later, their first cannabis store. What I can tell you is that Synchronicity Holistic is not a cannabis store. It's not a pot shop. We are perceived as an academy. We educate in wellness for many different, not only age-related, like arthritis. Our A's are autoimmune, anti-inflammatory, anti-anxiety, arthritis. And so my demographic now is the 65 to 94-year-old, and I specialize in women. And I'm talking about alcohol, Xanax. It's ridiculous. Gabapentin, which is called, it's called Neurontin, or was called Neurontin, now gabapentin. Latest study that has just come out is that it's causing dementia. We know Benadryl, Excedrin PM, all these medications that are either over the counter or the doctors are writing have had serious side effects. We have 2 people who have been on narcotics, opiates, and we've successfully titrated them off. And they're using cannabis in place of it. So it's highly emotional to me because we don't make money. We've never made money. I tried to declare this a nonprofit upon opening, but Governor Newsom told me that that required a federal designation and that I'd never get it. Maybe my children's children will get it. It's been very elusive over the last 15 years. When Monterey County finally, Board of Supervisors allowed me to create this beautiful center, they started showing up. They had heard about me. They had seen the transformation in my life. Parents of my children's friends saw how I started changing my life. And it became inspirational for many people who were reluctant because of the stigma to even give themselves permission to walk in this store. We're the only one in California who has ever had a pharmacist, and many of you may know our beloved David Villarreal. David has been on the peninsula for over 40 years as a practicing pharmacist and loved. They just started coming. And like I said, at this point, we've seen over 16,000 patients. We have spoke to many organizations, men and women, business organizations. I was the only woman that was allowed to go to Steelwell Water, which was 180 retired ex-CEOs. And the only way that I could relate to them was that I was married to every one of them. My husband grew a $5 billion business, and I know the anxiety that he contended with every day. And as I shared earlier, it was food and alcohol is how he managed his anxiety. I have a beautiful daughter who's a model, who triggered an eating disorder, and an exercise addict. So in our family, everybody has something. And what we talk about openly is how do we manage our anxiety and our feelings every day to just give us a little bit more happiness and comfort in our lives, to know that we're not alone, that we have a support system here. I have an incredible team. So if I'm not here and I text 8 hours a day, patient care, because sometimes when we get older, we forget what we're supposed to do. We create a directive, we write it down, we give phone reports, back and forth support. Last night, I was on the phone at midnight last night, working with a woman to make sure that she was doing her directive right. So it's not just you come in and you buy something. The local dispensaries, hate to say this, but they all came from the illicit market. They legitimized themselves by getting licensed, and because the market has been so difficult and our governor continues to raise taxes, that a lot of people have gone out the back door to contribute to the gray market. So when you walk into my store, is she beautiful? Yes. When we received that designation back in 2024 as the most luxurious cannabis destination, my son told me I had just, because of the demands of the store, I was just starting in 2023 to lose my ability to walk again. And I wasn't sure that I could continue. My son took me to my place, and the day he left me, he said, I cannot do this. And I said, if you don't, I will never get out of bed again. I won't know how to get in the pool, and I'll lose my ability to walk. And I stayed for 20 days in Mexico. As I shared earlier, I take anywhere between 60 and 100 milligrams of CBD a day. I manage and have suffered with chronic pain for 32 years. My fingertips to my elbows and my toes to my knees. I am basically a walking miracle. The children that grew up with my children through high school and middle school, my daughter just got married on 13, where her dad and I were married on Pebble Beach. And one of the kids said, "We remember when you broke the 4-foot glass bond and said you're not going to wind up like my brother." And now you're helping people every day, teaching them how to manage their feelings in different disease states and problems that we have, living in a very living in a very difficult world today. If 1 in 4 had anxiety during COVID, we're now 1 in 3. When I was working out of my home in Pebble Beach in 2010, they came to me for sleep and pain. The number one reason why patients walk in here today is anxiety and depression. Then, of course, when we have anxiety and depression, we can't sleep. That accelerates the pain, and we can't get out of bed the next day. And then the depression starts to, Raina, we talked about this earlier. I listened to you. The depression starts to set in. I've experienced every one of those emotions. I can tell you that this is the most incredible opportunity to learn about this medicinal plant, because it's going to be coming into our healthcare. And last administration promised that it would, and it didn't. There was no reason why it couldn't have. This new current administration, probably because they see a way to monetize it, is coming, and it will be rescheduled. And I think, what will that give to me? It will only give some of the doctors that are afraid to write that script. We work with 10 of them here on the peninsula, whether it be cancer, whether it be ALS, whether it be orthopedic, pre and post hip replacement surgery. So the physicians have accepted us and see our work. Excuse me. If we have a cancer patient and they're given the palliative care with hospice that they have a month or 2 to live, we take them on a different journey. I had one doctor say she was supposed to pass in November. It's February. What have you done? We make them comfortable. CBD is the best antidepressant out there. I was on antidepressants. I was on pain medication. I was on gabapentin that they've just found out causes dementia. There are other alternatives. And why am I a leader in this? Because I'm a walking testimonial, and I live in gratitude every day to pay it forward, whether it be with my employees, giving them an opportunity to work here, whether it is my friends to teach them something new. And I know when I start talking, and people will say, "Well, tell me how you use it." I say, "Well, you know how you're on the phone with AT&T and the husband's like, have no clue. And the women kind of sashay over and go, 'What do you do?'" I said, "Sometimes my anxiety, by the time I've talked to the 5th person, has escalated. And the girls will know, and they'll come and give me some drops. And within 20 minutes, I can quell my anxiety." I know, like my brother, I've always had anxiety. I chewed my nails, like my hair. So I can look back at my grandchildren, and I already know what their future is going to look like. And if we learn how to find a sweet spot during the day to manage with CBD, and for sleep, to manage our sleep, to be able to, after 60, we can go to sleep, but we can't stay asleep. How do we create a directive for you based on our body types and our endocannabinoid system? We didn't even know about an endocannabinoid system until 1989. 1989, the doctors started learning that we have a regulatory framework that controls hormones, appetite, mood, central nervous system. And so they're teaching to that now. So it's an exciting time to be in cannabis. Did I start maybe a decade too soon? Yes. Have we lost a lot of money? Yes. But for me, this is, and I've done 20 years. When I came here, I wasn't that sick, and I became one of the most, quote, successful philanthropists. I raised over $15 million for Make-A-Wish. It was 5 well moms with 9 healthy children. And we went out to help and teach other people. So my visibility created some attention when people started saying, Supervisor Judge Phillips, she's not in her wheelchair anymore. Look at her progress. So when people started seeing the progress, then the credibility then was also, there was a light shined on my mobility and where I was. So I have a beautiful video that was put together by a young man who teaches at the University of Irvine. He teaches cannabinoid medicine. That will be on my website. I wasn't sure how much time you had allocated for me today, so I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to show a 15-minute video, but now I'm learning about your format, your board, and I'm thrilled. Juliana, I've flirted with this for at least 7 years, but I've always liked running any company. You know, you're working 12, 13 hours a day, and you go to sleep and you're waking up in a couple hours during quiet time and continuing to work. So running a company on your own is difficult. Running it with a team is even more difficult. In an unregulated man's world, there are only 2 of us in California that own a cannabis dispensary. And I vow to make it different. So my grandchildren, who are now 16 and 13, will be proud of me and what I've done. She's just been accepted into Harvard, came out of a summer program. And I know her dad, not my daughter, but her dad was very concerned about knowing that her grandmother uses cannabis. And I said, you know what you should teach her? Let me teach her that grandma uses this for medicine. So when you see one of those little girls and boys pick up a joint, you say, my grandma uses this for medicine. Why do you use it? And usually the kids will talk. The kids, you being a parental, 15 years, I was an early childhood development major. I understand the impact that modeling can do with other kids. And so I'm grateful to be able to meet some of you. I'm anxious, Juliana, to join your organization. I already know who I'm going to call when I hang up to get some feedback on you ladies, and as you've given me a little bit of insight into each one of your businesses and what you do. But what I can share with you is this is women supporting women. I specialize in the female senior women. A lot of you aren't seniors yet, but we've got the soccer moms that are start coming in now that are saying, I'm drinking too much wine. What can I do? We have people that have smoked joint, high profile people. You wouldn't know. I mean, when they walked in, you wouldn't even believe that they smoked pot for 50 years. And I used to judge that person that smoked pot. I guess that's why I have a sense of pride to say I've still never smoked a joint, because it is medicine. If you smoke pot, you're combusting, you're burning off 70% of the therapeutic properties. So this is all what we teach in the Wellness Center. And I don't know how much time I have to speak today. I don't know if there's a question. I have 1 more minute. Well, I'm glad I trusted my instinct. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here, and I welcome all of you to come in so we can teach you. We have samples that we can start with, and we can create a directive based on what those samples felt like to you, and work with you. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Juliana. Thank you. Oh, I kept wondering where the hearts were coming from. Do you have something on the computer that does that?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So when you like what somebody said, you send hearts. Well, you're teaching me today. Look at that. Wonderful. Well, now I'm excited how to learn that today, because boy, at 71, this whole tech world is still challenging for me. That's why Katie Ray, who is my right hand gal, is here just in case I lose voice or something. So we're always learning, aren't we? I have a client who's 94 years old, and he drove up in a Ferrari, and he got something for sleep. And he said something. I said, are you telling me that at 94 we're still learning? He said, you never quit learning. When we do, we become a rock, and we are immobilized. So this is another opportunity to learn from each other. Thank you.
I love that. And Valentia, I was soaking up so much of what you had to say, and I look forward to having an opportunity to visit you at your location. Can you tell us a little bit about where your location is?
Yes, we're in the barnyard. I bought a freestanding building in 2016. So if you know where the yellow brick road is, the back of my building is the yellow brick road in the barnyard, across from where the big building is. So we're in Chase Bank, right? The 6 little buildings across that street, Carmel Rancho Lane. I'm the end cap. I have a black and white building with a beautiful awning. Let me think. The last tenant that just moved in is called Post No Bills, right across the street from us in Carmel Video. So I'm right there on the corner, and we're open from 10 to 7 days a week, except for Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom and really debunking the fact that others, because I've used the creams before and I really enjoy them for sleep quality. So I'm looking forward to seeing more about what you have going on, so that we can really plug into a greater sense of, let's see, I'm going to call it aging well, because I'm one of those seniors. I just turned 60 this year. So I look forward to seeing you and getting to know you a little bit better.
It's our future. Let me just share really quick that our largest organ is our skin. And that means most of the endocannabinoid receptors are on our skin. I use it all over my face. People go, "You're 71." Despite what I've done and what I've been able to create, it works. It's like walking into a spa show with $100 and saying what works. We direct you, we educate you based on what your needs are. You don't like it, you bring it back. We'll work with something else. This has never been about money. This is the purest form of altruism, whether I've had my career or raising my children, and then the 26 years that I did nonprofit with Dean Eastwood and Helen Darris and so many other women. This epitomizes somebody who wasn't able to sleep for 20 years, got her first night's sleep. I cry with them because I've had insomnia since I was 48. So when you can identify with someone and help them with issues that they have, there's the greatest feeling of love and gratitude that we came together and that we're able to go on this journey safely.
Yeah, I hear your level of commitment to getting the word out there and making the world a better place through healing and advocating. And I just want to say thank you so much for speaking with us today. It was really a gift to be witness to what you have to share. And I just want to remind you as we round out the time together to remember that your network is your net worth. And the really opportunity, I remember when I was early on in networking, I'd show up for an event and I wouldn't necessarily connect with everybody. I'd just show up and kind of get entertained. And I'm going to say the real connections are made outside this telephone call. So for those of you who really want to dive deep and to be able to connect with your fellow sisters and brothers, I'm going to invite you or challenge you to think about one person in this room, this virtual room, that you'd like to connect with and reach out to them today. And because I enjoy each and every one of you so much, I know that you have some fantastic people that you'd like to connect us with. So please keep us in mind as you're talking to your friends and business associates. And I look forward to seeing you at one of our upcoming events. Be well. Great to have you here today.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Thank you, Valentia.
Hey, everyone.
You're awesome.
Yeah. So appreciated what you had to say.